Hello and welcome back to One Source Overseas. This is Sandeep Jadhav, your career coach, your mentor, and today we have Mr. Neil from Iowa State University. Uh, this is a small podcast about gathering more information about what Iowa State University is all about. So let's hear it from the horse's mouth.
Sure.
Neil, so can you briefly tell me something about Iowa State University? Why and how a student should identify that Iowa is the right fit for them?
So yeah, just give you an example. Iowa State University is one of the largest land grant universities. It's a public institution
Mhm.
in the United States.
Mhm.
It is a tier one research institution as well as very focused on science and technology.
Right.
So its entire name of the university is Iowa State University of Science and Technology. As such. So anybody who gets their undergrad degree, they
Mhm.
generally get a Bachelor of Sciences. So they don't get a so even in business, it will be Bachelor of Science and Business Administration. So we are a science and tech based university, land grant university from Iowa. So give an example where we are located. We are located in Ames, Iowa, which is a 5 hour drive in US terms from Chicago, or a 30-45 minute flight from Chicago to this Iowa's capital, Des Moines. Des Moines is Desmoines. The pronunciation is French, that's why it's called Des Moines.
Okay.
That is the largest city in Iowa. It's also the insurance capital of the United States. So a lot of insurance companies are there,
Amazing.
finance-based companies are present as such. And that's 30 minutes from our campus, which is 1,600-acre large campus where Iowa State
Wow.
is built. And one of the most beautiful campus voted in the United States and the safest campus in the United States as such. So there are different programs in the College of Engineering, College of Business, College of Agricultural Sciences, Food Sciences, everything else. We have almost everything and everything available for anything and everything available for international students as well as local students, and very open town as well.
Great. So something that every student, when they do a research about their particular program, say they
Yeah.
want to go for computer science, they want to go for AI, data
Yeah.
science. So they would probably look for universities that fall into the top tier ones for
Yeah.
that specialization.
Sure.
How do we place Iowa State University?
So Iowa State is ranked in almost, of course, it's the best in the state itself, which is a big thing because state itself has the jobs for that institution. So anybody from Des Moines, any companies around in that, John Deere or big companies like Principal, or Fortune 500 companies who have their offices in Iowa or even in the Midwest region, even in Chicago, which we are very close by from. Since we are in that top region, they would of course prefer students from there. So we have one of the largest career fairs in United States itself, where 400 employees come in every semester. So that's where people get to know more, and alumnus as well as like students get to know more from these companies about not only like the jobs which are available to them. We do provide as an institution. I am also a certified coach trainer who helps them to get best out of these best out of these career fairs on how to like link with those employers, what technologies you can learn from them, and you can in this institution you can get those flexibilities of like changing your major or changing your career path based on what you're learning
Yes,
from these
yes.
employers, because that gives you real time data in your head. Now, as when rankings are considered, like the business school which I'm a part of is ranked 50 in the United States for the last 5 years. It has been in the ranking. The lowest we have gone is 47. The highest we have been 52. So we like the worst ranking is 52. So we do have that space where we are always up there, the top institutions in the United States. We are ranked around 300 in the world for the business school. For all other programs as well, we are pretty well recognized. Our science school, like College of Computer Science, is 38 right now in the United States. The College of Electrical Engineering is pretty highly rated as well. Ag Engineering is top 10. Accounting is top 10 again. And then, and all of these rankings are in the US, but there are global rankings as well. And it's continuously changing space, but we are a tier one research institute. So our rankings are pretty much a high concern. And this is not only dependent on us because we do have tenure faculties, it also depends on our student performances, which we are really involved in trying to get the best for them.
All right. So ironically, what Neil said that their worst was 52, but that is the best that we're looking at. So ideally speaking, that's a right fit. And like you said, for accounting, it is in top 10.
Yes.
So that says it all about the quality of education that the university has to provide. A little bit on the graduate employment rate and how does Iowa State function there?
So one very important thing which we have is, as and when a student goes there, from day one itself, we provide them training about how different employment opportunities are as compared to their home country. So somebody coming from India, the placement system is much different. Out there, doesn't matter if you're in from rank 1 university or rank 100, it's important to make your profile unique or make your profile dependent in such a way that whether it's also one job available, you are probably the best candidate for it. and we really work very hard on it. I have been, when I was a student there, people made sure that made my profile unique, and that is something which we focus a lot on. So based on that, since we provide an infrastructure, students from day one itself know like this is something which we have to do in order to get the best opportunity itself, because it is very individualistic. It is not something where there's mass recruitment in the United States which happens. But if you're deliberate in your own profile, it really makes a big difference to get the best opportunity. Give you an example, myself, if I applied to 7 internship opportunities, I got interviews from 4 and then I got offers from 3. Whereas there are students who are probably even more talented than me, applied to 100 and got internships from 0. So it's very individualistic. Iowa State gives them the best possible opportunities because you have unlimited appointments with your career services and your academic services professional. So anytime you can always set up an appointment and meet them anytime. People are willing to help even after hours or something. So anytime you email, they welcome you to share more information, because that helps us to help the student do even better. The more we know about them, the better guidance we can give them, and the more they can leverage their resources. So College of Business Stats, since I am a College of Business professional, I know the placement rate. So we have 95% students get placed before graduation and 100% within 90 days of graduation. They also get help with their unemployment days for OPTs and other different things. But during the orientation onwards, they get their training so that they know that they're not violating any visa things. They exactly know what they're getting into, how to maximize their opportunities without violating any country visa regulations.
Great.
Yeah.
So the major hurdle that is resolved is there is a 100% placement within 90 days of your graduation and 95% before your graduation. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Coming down to what kind of students are we looking at, or what are the eligibility criteria in terms of CGPA, in terms of other achievements, WorkX, what exactly are we targeting?
So again, especially since I'm a graduate student representative, graduate meaning postgraduate in India terms, they're US, they call it undergraduate or the graduate. Okay. So in terms of postgraduate or graduate in US is considered, it's very subjective. So when you're applying to Iowa State University, for me, Ivy College of Business, we look at 4 different things. The first thing would be their transcripts. The second thing would be their job experience. The third thing, if for an MBA, would be their interview or else their SOP. So there are 4 different committees. The 4th committee would be the Director of Graduate Education with 2 faculty members. So these are 4 different committees who give their point of view. And no single person really determines whether you get selected or not selected. So there are eligibility criteria in the sense that there are suggested eligibility criteria. In order to leverage the best, it's still very individualistic. So give an example, somebody with multiple backlogs or even 3 CGPA out of 4 may get admitted, and somebody with a 3.75, if they have not mentioned their profile or filled in everything correctly, may not get selected. So it's very important that the students take that initiative. They can always reach out to us before. We do have an application fee of $100 for international students, but that we really do not make any money from it. It's mostly to make sure since we're a state-run institution, it's impossible to justify to the Iowa government that somebody is going to spend $30,000-$40,000 in the US is
not ready to pay
$100. They're not worth their time. And why should people here would be processing the application, the 4 committees we're looking at, if they're not willing to pay that $100 to show their interest? So, but what we do is, even before the application, they can ask us questions, and we try our best to even do a pre-check saying that whether they would be the correct person, or what is a red flag, or what is not red. So because we don't want them to spend $100, we really value that entire money. Right. So if they are not the right fit, we don't even want to apply. Yeah, we don't even want to waste their money on application. But it's important that students make sure that they look at what are the things they need to apply for. So everything in every of our master's program, you need 2 letters of recommendation, one your resume, your 1 personal statement. GRE or GMAT may be program dependent, so that is something we still have to do, and that's again scores matter. But that's not, their scores are not going to be the same thing. So I'm an MBA student. I had a GMAT score of 720. The average score is 620 sometimes, which we have seen. Some people get 560 and they get selected. Some people get 760 and they didn't get selected. So it's very subjective that way. But you can always send your transcripts and send your things pre-checked, so we can always look at it, find out what are the great things. Because what we entirely do is all these 4 committees are trying to show or find out. There's no actually accepting or rejecting. We don't want to reject anyone. We try to see how they can fit into the program so that they get the best infrastructure, and we make sure that they are ready to make the next step and using that infrastructure to improve their profile themselves. Because our reputations come from the students, and their reputation comes from the infrastructure we provide them.
Absolutely. Significance of SOP and LOR
Yeah.
in a brief, could you explain to the student?
So very important thing about SOPs, and we have seen, like I have processed so many applications that people do talk about. Of course, you need to talk about your achievements, but people do not talk about the outcomes from that achievements. Giving an example, somebody who is like, he has worked 5 years in the industry in IT, so they're going to talk about, oh, I worked in this technologies. What really did you learn from these technologies, or what are the outcomes from this? 6 months I worked at this project. What was your own core competency? Is very important for students to mention, even for their employment. Like when they're doing this, it's important, like when they write their resume bullet points, when they're looking for jobs, it's important that they write their outcomes, what they really achieved, or what they really like completed or did something in their project, or what their contribution was. So the two things I would say is important, or what you want to know about a person, is that they're capable. Of course, they talk about it through their achievements. And second thing is they're trainable as well. So they are willing to take the next step, that we are willing to learn. Because if you behave in a such a way thinking that you know everything, then why do you need the master's degree for?
All right.
So it's not just to get the degree, it's to get the training to make sure that you learn or you expand your horizons effectively. Because even the CEO of a company will not know everything which is going on out there. But it's important to understand what your core competencies are, and make sure the person reading you also knows what your core competencies are as well.
Great. That is a great suggestion, that SOPs is not just about your achievements, but the outcomes or the skills that you have built out of that experience. So do mention that, guys. Can you elaborate a little bit about the scholarships at
Yes.
Iowa?
So I think the biggest thing, along with the scholarship, especially for the postgraduate students or the graduate in US students, is assistantships. So Iowa State, one thing has is, like, we are capped at the same tuition fee for how many ever classes you register into. So we do promote students taking more and more classes, how many burden you can take in. So US government makes, for a full-time student, they need to be enrolled for minimum 9 credit hours. So anybody from 9 or more credit hours, they have the same tuition in Iowa State. So I've taken plenty of time when I had 18 or 21 credit hours. So you can take 6 or 7 courses. You can even take courses in different other schools as well. So think about it. If you're business analytics students, you think that there's a Python course or there is an AI course which you want to learn about, you can take a College of Engineering course as well.
Wow.
That flexibility you do have at Iowa State. So the tuition is capped there. Now, one thing for assistantships, if you have a graduate assistantship, which is a research or teaching assistantship, you would pay in-state tuition. Along with the in-state means a local Iowa resident tuition. Along with that, you get a 37.5% scholarship. And the third advantage is you're guaranteed a 10-hour job for $27 per hour salary. So that is the biggest, assistantship is the biggest biggest thing if you can get there. And for our MBA international students, that's guaranteed. So every MBA international student actually gets a graduate assistantship. I had gotten it. Everybody's guaranteed that. So we make sure that all our MBA students have a graduate assistantship as well.
So all these spectators have one question.
Yeah.
How do we get selected for that?
Yeah, so there is of course a different process. But I just, before even we talk about graduate assistantship, I'll talk about there are other plenty of scholarships as well. There's college-wide scholarships who don't have assistantships as well. Like we have for our specialty masters. Since our MBA students already get their assistantship, they will not need that extra scholarship. So they get other $5,000 scholarship. There are other scholarships which are available. There are other campus jobs which are available. So anybody who wants to do can use that entire quota of doing a campus job, because that's many jobs which are available on campus. But for any of these, we are first asked a question for applying for assistantship, research, or graduate assistantship. We're going to say yes. And based on that criteria, what happens, they submit their resume as well. So even before coming there, these resumes are sent out to professors, they're sent out to different staff members who have these assistantships available. And once they go there, there's a portal, they can apply for these positions, and then they can get those as well. So there are plenty of opportunities. They'll get all the notifications in their application portal, how to do that. Then there are phases in which you can reach out, and then there'll be like your college will also advocate. So in case if you're like College of Business, they don't have an assistantship, but College of Veterinary Medicine needs somebody with a business analytics skill, they can get an assistantship there as well. So it's pretty open and flexible in campus, you can get in. And so there are plenty of ways in which they get that. They get all the notifications from the unlimited appointments. Their academic advisor, career advisor, always telling them, do this, you can get an assistantship as well.
And the difference between the teaching assistantship and the research assistantship?
It's very role based. So teaching would be you'll have to teach a lab, or teach some students, or do a tutoring and mentoring. Research would be very much what your professor would be asking you to do. And basically you may work with postdoc as well as even like research assistant professor. So you'll be probably working on some industry project, which would be like something, and you'll be gathering data or working on it directly based on whatever your profile really feels skillful as well. And since these professors have these endowments coming in from like for the research money coming in from the specific projects they're working on, so they're the ones who decide like which student based on the profile we submit is the one appropriate for them to do that assistantship. It's not also that it's biased that this person has reached out, so they'll only take this person.
Okay.
It's very open to, because they need to have that right match. You need to justify to their sponsors as well, like this is the person who would be correct to getting it. But there are plenty of opportunities, and it's important that students try to reach for that and be professional about reaching out to them. Some people like just go there without appointment, speak to somebody in the office, like I have come here for an assistantship, and that's where you are out of your place, and people would not respect you because you're not respecting their time as well. So you should like follow the correct procedure, and you would be given guidelines and training by your advisors. But you should also make sure that you check your portal, application portal, and then the job portals as well, which will help you.
Excellent. Now, what are the entry requirements on an average basis for an MBA, say GMAT, or for analytics? Is there a GRE requirement?
Sure. So MBA, GMAT or GRE is compulsory because, again, I mentioned they have assistantship and they are like the flagship programs. So give an example. Actually, there are so many scholarships that rather I did like my final semester tuition was only $200. That is how many scholarship which I really got it. Second last semester was $700, and I got my MBA degree. There are also flexibility to do dual degrees for the MBA students. They can actually do a dual degree. Only thing, they'll have to take extra credits, and they don't have to pay extra for it again. So that is the amount of advantage they have. So they have to give a GRE or a GMAT. Both are accepted. In-home GRE and GMAT is also accepted. For other business school programs like business analytics, finance, information systems, they don't have to give a GRE or a GMAT. But for the MBA, they'll have to give a GRE or a GMAT. For College of Engineering ones, there are, again, the waived ones as well as non-waived ones. It's very difficult to program-based, specific-wise. Of course, the more difficult or the more opportunistic ones may have a GRE or a GMAT. The MBA program has a GRE or a GMAT because of our rankings. GMSC as well as Harvard and other institutions, they have high GMAT scores for the students. It helps them with the rankings. So a lot of ranking institutions want GMAT compulsory for students. That's why we have it. And it also helps us to better analyze students a little bit more. But that's not the only criteria in which student gets selected. That is just a placeholder. Now, for English test purposes, 7.5 IELTS or a 105 TOEFL is recommended. Anybody lower than this have to give a English placement test. That is something which they have to go there and give. English does not determine their acceptance criteria. So English is not going to be their criteria. Once they go there, they give the English placement test. If they have lesser scores than this, we'll determine whether they would have to give 0 or 3 English classes. Now, the problem with the English classes is, it of course is paid by the college itself. So students don't have to pay extra. It's taking the burden of those classes as such. But since they'll be doing a job in the US, they would be research assistants or teaching assistants where they'll have to teach people in English. It's important that they have the foundations of English, the grammar is correct, and make sure that they are able to communicate what is in their heart to the person, to the listener. So that is the reason why this English placement test is taken for people who have lower IELTS or a TOEFL score. Even Duolingo and PTE is accepted, but again, they'll have different criteria, and it's pretty flexible that way. Somebody with global experience for with an experience for 3+ years may have and they have worked in a company which has operations in more than 2 countries, they can get their English placement test waiver. So if they have still less than like IELTS 7 or IELTS 6.5, they still won't have to take the English placement test and get it waivered because they worked in a global company. They are able to communicate with different people.
True that. Also, there are a lot of myths that is surrounding the international student, especially Indian students, where universities are boasting like, we are based out of New York, we're based out of Chicago, we are based out of California, we're just next to Silicon Valley. So how does that differentiate Iowa State in terms of opportunities which are available in the county and is also equally in comparison to other
So first thing, to be honest, like me being in US for the past 7 years, I have done degrees in Texas. I've done a degree in Texas A&M University, College Station, and then I did TOEFL in Iowa. So it's really an Indian student is willing to move anywhere and everywhere in the US. And that is what is seen by all the employers. They're not going to be like, okay, fine, this guy got their education in Texas, doesn't mean they cannot fly to Oregon for a job in Intel. So that's really open because they're international students. They've already traveled halfway around the world to be there. They will be willing to move there. And they're asked in their form as well. But we have one of the largest career fairs in the United States where students can come and visit and talk to these employers, all the 400 or 500 employers who come in there every semester. So they get an opportunity through that. Now, comparing to different cities, like Boston, as well as like let's look at New York. The unique thing about United States is that these big cities or small cities, the quality of living is the same. So, like give an example in Mumbai or living in Indore, you may see a quality of living very different. Like people will have different cars, the buildings will be different, the roads will be different. That's not the case. Like Ames, Iowa has the same things what is available in New York. So you'll have the same stores, you'll have everything same. The only difference would be the population. That's the only biggest difference. But the amenities wise, US, all the states except Alaska, all 49 states is habitable as well as has the same resources. And that's why US is such a unique country, because such a big landmass everywhere, same resources available, really makes it an opportunity where people can easily move or make that change itself. Now, when looking for jobs, as you had said, it's important to not only look at the salary number, but also to look at the growth opportunities as well as the location. So, giving an example, an average salary of $90,000 in Iowa, a person can save more money than somebody who's earning $140,000 in California or in Boston, because that's how the country is made, because of taxation rules, because of fuel prices, because of farming techniques as such. So it's important that to look at everything when you're looking at your return on investment, just not to look at the number of what your salary is. But we are pretty close to Chicago. So that's where a lot of our students get employed to. We are very close to Des Moines, which is Iowa's capital and the largest city in Iowa, and also the insurance capital of America. But our students are everywhere. Like they are in California, they are in Seattle and Amazon, they are in Boston, and people apply to everywhere. Companies come for career fairs everywhere, and we provide training so that they can get jobs in whichever companies they're looking for, but also be realistic at keeping safe bets as well.
Okay. So, so there is no difference. You study in California, you work in California, you work in Iowa. You will be probably able to save more money living in Iowa compared to Boston, California, or New York.
Yes.
Additionally,
I can give you an example. Like, so me staying there, I spend probably $1,000. So an average student will have to spend $700 to $1,000 on their rent, living, everything together, maximum. In California, they'll probably spend $4,000, but they'll have to like share an apartment or 2 or 3 people. Where here they'll have the same apartment, everything temperature controlled, with their own restroom. They won't even have to share with anybody their room or their restroom as such. So they'll get that flexibility here. So in fact, quality of living is actually higher or better here. And the mentality in US is a bit different as such. Like whatever things you have, commodities you have, like cars or houses, it's very individualistic. So my manager there may have an inferior house and actually has an inferior house and an inferior car, because that is what their choices are. So people worry a little bit more about themselves than for thinking what others are doing. So California from outside may look very attractive, but it has its own challenges. Iowa may look attractive in a certain way, it has its own challenges. So every place is going to have its own challenges as such, but every place has almost equal opportunities.
great. So
Yeah.
I've also happened to know that after Iowa is ranked third after Harvard and Cornell, I guess,
Yes, and
for
the
student experiences.
yes, for the business school, for the student experiences is ranked. So it's a best administered, third best administered school program or business school for Iowa State University, and I am part of the team who has got that third rank. And that is because we have unlimited opportunities for students to speak. Each person, the staff member and faculty member, not only know all the students by face and by name, but it's also like dean and everybody also know. That is how much every student is taken care of and every student we are involved in. I myself, of course, know all of them, but even they know, and that is how much they are involved in it. And they have unlimited appointments, so they don't have to like give an example like Carnegie Mellon. You'd probably be able to meet your career advisor once in the semester, and if you have used that, you cannot go back again. That's the rule they have. Ours, there's nothing like that. You can come anytime. Like you can take an appointment, or else even sometimes impromptu they come to the office if the staff is available. We try to help them as well. So we really welcome coming there, because the more information we get from the students, the more we can help them better, and the better student can get from the help which we can provide them. Because in the end, they are paying their tuition. They are the ones who would be benefited if they share more information to us. And it has been possible to get this third rank because everybody is so willing to help. We have these unlimited opportunities, but we are really not satisfied with the third rank. We want to actually get first rank as well, despite Ivy Leagues having 10 times the tuition fees and 10 times the resources as compared to a state institution like this.
Absolutely. So that's wonderful, because it's a higher education abroad is more about experiences, and if you're getting into a best administered program, that means that the quality of program is really high and it's worth every penny that you spend. Coming down to one more aspect of Iowa, it's one of the safest university so far in USA? Can you just enlighten us?
Yes, so we are the safest campus in the United States, and this is possible because of not only having an open community. So Ames itself is a college town. So there's 70 to 75,000 is a town's population, with 30 to 35,000 being students who really like to do whatever they want at any hour of the day. So students go out at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. They're still safe going outside as well. As compared to like in Chicago, it's not really safe to go out at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or somewhere else. So, and we are the safest campus. So you will see people outside at 1 a.m. and 2 a.m., which is not a shock in Mumbai, where I'm talking right now, but it's not very common in the United States. You will not see people outside after sunset because of safety concerns. But in Iowa, that's not the case. People are actually outside even after having cold weathers because they can spend their time with their friends and during that time as well. Not only is travel around the campus, buses and everything free for the students. There's app track systems so the students can find out. There's also safe rides. So in case if you're like at a friend's place late in the night or at a restaurant or a bar at like night 2 a.m., you can call and there's a safe ride will drop you home safely. So it's very important that people feel safe there, and the college itself as well as the town itself is really invested in making sure that there is safety as well. We are even like infant mortality rate, it's the least infant mortality in entire United States as well. So that is possible because everybody is very welcoming, and there are different events always going on. So you'll probably get like even in a week you'll get free t-shirts like what I'm wearing. It's free, which I got from the university, or free food always, because there are like so many community events going on.
Okay.
And they really welcome having people from different cultures as well as different people as well. We have 4 Indian student associations. We have plenty of Indians out there.
Great. What about the any famous alumni from Iowa State, an Indian origin?
Yes, there are plenty of famous alumni, and they are getting more and more as well. The CTO at Principal, Anurag Joshi, he is also a famous alumni. So Principal is a 200 ranked, like Fortune 200 company with $600 billion business right now.
Wow.
Yeah, they'll soon become $1 trillion business as such. Then the founder of Chegg, which is before ChatGPT, which was the biggest platform for students in which for doing their homeworks or finding out answers, is an Ivy College of Business alumni from India. He was brought up in India itself. So plenty of famous alumni, plenty of famous people who are like expanding their horizon, who are there right now. There are people who come back here as well and talk about their adventures as well. There are many famous entrepreneurs as well who have opened their own business and now are billion-dollar companies, because our famous entrepreneurship program, which not only helps students to pitch ideas, but it also we connect them with seed as well as VCs, so that they can get a spot in our 6,000-acre research park to start their startup, but also get money from these investors as well.
Absolutely. Couple of quick questions.
Yeah.
How do you see Trump administration affecting the international student recruitment?
So I would say Trump administration is more focused on illegal immigrants than legal immigrants. So international students are an opportunity for them to get more talent. More talent meaning more businesses, more employment opportunities, more power to the United States as a nation. So they would be very open to having international talent. I went to the US 7 years before. Trump was the president during that time. So I was there when Trump was the president. Then Biden came in. So Trump was not the president. I will be there when Trump would be the president again. So I can really advocate in my time saying that during Trump, there was nothing happened which was sad for international students. It was the illegal immigrants who faced that trouble. Rather, the job market really is something which grows when Trump administration is there, because he is somebody who is very business minded or business oriented. And that really helps a lot of international students to get their opportunities. But regardless of Trump or regardless of any other person being the president, the laws about immigrations haven't changed much in the last 20-25 years. It's been the same thing. There have been small minor changes, and that is taken into consideration, taking part, like not one president can really decide or change that. That is taken into consideration with colleges, with employers, with everything. And then if Trump decides, okay, fine, we'll have some new resolution, let's pass, he'll have to probably take 3 to 6 months to write that up. Then it'll go to the House. They are going to say yes, which takes 6 months. Then it goes to the representatives of the House of the Senators. So first it goes to the House and goes to Senators. They have to say yes. So it takes 2 to 2.5 years to build something of law. He has 4 years left in his tenure. It cannot be like 8 years again. So he's not going to focus on that. Rather, he's going to focus on improving the economy, which is something which the Indian students will really get.
Fantabulous.
Yes.
So to sum up the overall interview, it looks like Iowa State University comes in top 50. It's a tier one research university. It's an affordable university. Everybody at an MBA program gets a graduate assistantship, 100% placement within 90 days, one of the safest town, affordable living expenses. I think that sums up everything that an international student wants.
Yes, and it's important as well. They're like the reason why I've come here to advocate for our program is like, of course, I've been an alumni there. There are things which really cannot be mentioned in a flyer or in the website. Once you go there, you live there, and those are small things which really makes a big difference in students' lives as well. Like having unlimited appointments with your advisors as well. Sometimes you really go there that far. You really need that help, and this, if that is available, you really feel a part of it. You really feel motivated when you're looking for jobs at high level. Second thing as well is it's very important that you being valued. That is something which you will get in this institution. So that is something which cannot be said. Then taking part in competitions or taking part in else, Iowa State not only funds that, but really promotes taking part in different competitions. Even your logistics, everything is taken care of Iowa State. Like going to case competitions, everything is paid by Iowa State. Travel, food, everything, even training and everything is given to that. So it's not really. It is something which once you go there, you can really understand like how
Experience. True.
different it is, and those small things will really help you to get the best out of whatever investment you make in. Doesn't matter whichever college you get into.
All right, then. It was an enlightening session about Iowa State University. Thank you, Neil, for taking out time, coming down and explaining it with so much of details. This has really enlightened all the students, and of course, I know that most of them would definitely open up their websites and they're going to check on Iowa State University and definitely, look forward to talk to you.
Yes,
So, thank you for all the time and the efforts,
Sure.
and thank you all.